Hi, crafty friends. Irene here with Artemis Made, and I'm so happy to welcome you back to my channel, or if you're new here, just welcome. I'm so glad that you found me and joined me. So today I'm sharing a project inspired by the Not Too Shabby October Monthly Mood Board Challenge. And here you see an example of the Monthly Mood Board Challenge. It's got beautiful colors, wonderful wintry vibes, cozy, comfortable. And I am featuring the Blue Christmas collection, which is part of the October Paper Pad Club, and it is still available. So the Blue Christmas paper pad is what I used for my card today, along with the Blue Christmas ephemera pack. There are so many beautiful pieces in this pack, and they're a really nice size too. And then I also used the Blue Christmas sparkling enamel dots. They're really sweet, and they have just the perfect touch of sparkle. So let's jump right in and make our pop-up banner card. We start with a card base that is 11 inches by 4 1/4 wide, and we're going to score our card base right in the center. So you're going to score it at 5 1/2, and you're going to make a top folding portrait style card base. Now we're also going to use a strip of paper that is 1 inch by 11 inches, and we're going to score it at 2 3/4 inch, at 5 1/2 inch, and then 8 1/4 inch. And you can score it all in the same direction. I flipped it in the middle just so that I could easily fold it into this M shape. So it's like mountain valley, I believe. So there you go. That's very simple. That is the whole pop-up mechanism. It's going to turn into a wow factor, but that's how it starts at the beginning. Now I'm going to take 2 of the same pattern paper from the Blue Christmas pack, and I'm going to cut them down to be a matting layer on the inside of my card, which is the inside's going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches each. So they're the same size, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the paper that I'm putting on the outside of my card. So it also is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. And that sweater knit pattern, the braid, is my absolute favorite paper from this pack, which is saying something because all of the paper is beautiful, but I cannot stop staring at that braided knit. Gorgeous. All right, so now I'm going to take the same color that I used for my card base, and I cut down 4 blue squares in 2 1/4 inch by 2 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to take another one of the coordinating pattern papers, and I'm going to cut 2 2 by 2 inch squares. So we've got 4 2 1/4 inch squares in the blue card base, and we're going to do 2 pattern paper squares in the 2 by 2 inch. And then I also took white cardstock and did 2 squares of 2 by 2 inches. So all in all, we have 8 squares, 4 that are 2 1/4 and 4 that are 2 inches. And those are going to be matted onto the 2 1/4. All right, so now we're just going to get started assembling our card. I am putting together my front here. I'm just putting the pattern paper down first just to get it started. So that is that beautiful sweater knit that I just love. So that's the front of the card now. We've got our base down, and now we're going to put the inside panels. And even look at the back of that, those cute little toasted marshmallows. It kind of killed me to cover that up. I just love that paper. But fortunately, you get several sheets of the paper inside of each pack. So even though I use these 2, I still have more marshmallows to go. So I'm okay with it. But isn't it cute? And I like having the 2 patterns the same, but you could always do them differently if you'd like. Now I'm going to take my my strip of paper here, and I had a little bit of fuzzy, so I was just trimming it just a hair. And you're going to stretch it across essentially like this, and you're going to put glue on your bottom part, and you're just going to line it up with the edge of your card in the center on your bottom panel, and then you're just going to like line it up right with the edge of your card, fold it down. Make sure that it is comfortable when you close the top, because I want to make sure that it wasn't peeking out. Then you're going to put some glue down and just fold the top of your card panel on top of it. So you're just closing your panel onto where you put the glue. And that way you know that it's going to line up perfectly, and you don't even have to really worry about measuring it or anything. You already eyeballed where the center is on the bottom one, so you're good to go. Okay, now we're going to mat the smaller 2-inch squares on top of the 2 1/4 inch squares. So this is, I was trying to explain it earlier, but this is what it looks like. So we've got 2 pattern paper squares that are 2 inch each getting matted onto the 2 1/4 inch. And then we've got 2 white cardstock squares that I was about to mat. And then I realized, oh, wait a minute, I want to do a little bit of stamping. So here I'm going to be pulling in this adorable stamp set that is from, that was released along with the snow globe. And we are going to use two of the stamps from the set. One of them says sweater weather is better weather, which I thought was really fun. And then another one's going to be our exterior sentiment. So we'll see that here in a minute. Now I decided, since there really isn't any black that I saw in the ephemera pack, and I didn't use any black on my pattern paper, so I didn't really want to do black ink for my stamping. So I went with some really dark, I want to say it's cocoa or espresso ink from Pink Fresh Studio. So it's got that beautiful rich brown color, which really pulls out the browns that are in the pattern paper. And then I remembered that there's a little tiny triple snowflake stamp, and I thought that would be a really sweet little thing to add as well. So I getting some of that film off from, because it's my first time using my stamp. And then I bring in some blue ink, and I'm going to stamp the snowflakes in blue. And I kind of went a little crazy with the snowflakes. I just kind of kept moving them around and putting them all over the place. I maybe did a few more than I necessarily needed, but you know what? When you're having fun, that's really the name of the game, isn't it? So while I'm stamping that, let me let you know that you too can play along with the monthly mood board challenge, and you have the opportunity to win I believe a $15 gift certificate to the Not Too Shabby shop. So who doesn't love prizes, right? So make sure that you you take a look at the mood board. I'll link it below, of course, and you can see if you're inspired as well, and we would love to see how the inspiration moves you and what you would like to create. So there, I started to stamp more snowflakes on the second white panel, but I decided I was going to hold off because I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do with the second white piece yet. So I just kind of said, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just move it aside for now. So I am going to now take another white panel that I just happened to cut down, and I'm going to use the Cozy Days, I think it says. Yeah, Cozy Days and Hello Winter sentiment stamps. Now you see these are a little bit curved, and that's because they go with the snow globe die collection. So I kind of decided I liked the curve of it, and I was going to incorporate that into my design. So again, you see me there, I'm kind of rubbing off the manufacturing film, and then I inked this up first with the blue, and look how beautiful that is too. They stamp wonderfully. So I started with the blue and said, you know what, why don't I just go ahead and grab another panel? Maybe I also want to see how it looks in brown. So I gave that a shot too. And I have to say, I apologize if my video is a little bit shaky. I was not in my craft space. I was in kind of my little mobile craft space, so it's not as sturdy as my regular craft table. So I apologize if there's a little bit of shakiness. All right, so now I decided I had a better idea what I wanted to do with my interior white square. So I went ahead and matted it, and then I matted the other one with the sentiment on it. There we go. So we've got the two with the blue pattern paper, we've got one just white square, and then we've got one that has a sentiment and some snowflakes. So now what I can do is glue down my pieces. Now you see I only put glue down the center of my square. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. It's going to go in that first scored section. So we've got 4 scored sections, and we're going to put one of these squares in each of the sections. So there's my second square, and again, I only put glue in the center, so it adhered right to the strip. And then same thing here. I put my white piece at the very bottom. That's where I can write a note, to my recipient. And then I'm going to do the same thing there. Just glue right in the middle. I'm lining it up. I'm kind of just eyeballing it, making sure it's aligned with the squares before it and the one after it. And there's our function. Look at that. It just pops right up. Isn't that fun? It just is very, very simple to make, but I really feel like it has quite the wow factor. So now I wasn't originally sure where I was going with this, but I decided that I wanted to put a strip on the outside of my panel so that I could kind of give it a landing strip, I guess, or a grounding layer. That's what I was trying to say. It needs a grounding layer. So I wanted to have something that would kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It would anchor, there it is. It would anchor the ephemera to the outside of the card. Because I'm not super into when it just kind of looks like it's floating. I mean, it's pretty, and I still like it either way, but it wasn't my favorite look. So that's why I wanted to put that little strip there. But the 1 inch that I did was too wide. So I cut it again down to a 1/2 inch strip. And it's the full length of the panel all the way across. So it's a 1/2 inch by 4 1/4. And you notice I didn't put it in the center of my card. I put it maybe about 1/3 of the way up, maybe a little more, because I wanted to use it, or I wanted to lay it kind of toward the bottom of my ephemera and let the ephemera cluster that I'm doing go up a bit. Now, you might be curious what I did with my tape here. So my little tip is arrange your ephemera how you like it best, move it all around, do whatever works for you in that capacity until you like it, and then put some low tack tape over the top to keep it in that same pattern. And then you can turn it over and systematically, one by one, glue down your different layers exactly where you wanted them. So I started with putting liquid glue on my bookshelf because that was my bottommost layer. And then I put some foam squares just on the girl's head and then some regular glue at the bottom so that just her head is popped up. And now I'm going to go and do more of the foam squares on the little corgi. And for those of you who know me, you know I have a corgi, and I absolutely had to feature this adorable little sleepy corgi who is just enjoying his winter nap. He looks so cozy, and I just want to crawl right into the chair and hug him and just nap with him. I just think he's the cutest thing. So I was trying to decide where I wanted to pop him up, and that's the only thing with doing a partial pop-up like I did on the girl, is that it can kind of mess with your dimension a little bit when you're trying to add more foam. So I ended up taking away a couple of the foam squares, and then I liked it a lot better. And then I also ended up adding one more piece of ephemera because I didn't want it to be, I didn't want so much symmetry. I like odd numbers, so I wanted odd numbered ephemera. So I have the bookshelf in the back, the bookshelf flat in the back, it's just glued down. I have the girl with her bottom half is glued, and her top half is has the foam square. My corgi has foam on his left and bottom sides, and then not where the top of the chair is. And then I added the other two pieces just glued down, and I put my sentiment at a curve. So that Hello Winter is just kind of tilted off to the side, curving along the bottom edge of the ephemera. And then I added more ephemera to the inside of my card because, it's cozy days. We're going with it. We're feeling that sweater weather and just really enjoying it. So I'm going to tuck that in a little bit under that piece. And I liked having some of the pattern paper still peeking through because it's pretty. I liked having it showing there. All right, and then I'm going to add one more little snowflake to the bottom piece. And here we are. The card is almost done. Almost. This is completed as far as the ephemera goes, but I wanted to add some sparkle. So I grabbed my Blue Christmas sparkly enamel dots, and I was playing around back and forth to see, do I want the blue, do I want the white, do I want the brownish? But I decided to go with the brown because there is so much blue in the card, and I really wanted to pull out those like little gold brown threads from that braided background. Now you see me, I used my scissors here to cut out pieces of my enamel dots. I've mentioned this before, but this is my favorite way to mess with enamel dots without committing, because placing embellishments is the hardest thing for me. I can never decide where I want them to go. So I really like keeping them on the backing and just moving the little squares around until I decide where I like it. And then I could just pop each one off the square, place it down, and I know I'm good to go. Fortunately, you can pop these back up if you need to. If you've already stuck it down, you can. They give you a little bit of time. But I just like to stick the landing on the first try. So for that reason, I do my little squares and I move them all around. And here we go, friends. This is our card. So this is inspired again by the Not Too Shabby monthly mood board challenge. I just loved those cozy blue vibes. It just made me super happy, and I was really excited to use the corgi. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this project. I hope you give it a try yourself. Please share it, tag me. I would love to see your creations. And I hope that you also have a very wonderful intro into the sweater weather season if you are headed into it like I am. So thank you so much again, and you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Grab some paper and craft something that really makes you smile. Bye, friends.